Welcome everybody to this this bit, which is partly brought to you by the Hives. Hate to say I told you so, and then also I don't know, the Clash is London calling, something like that. Yes, it's our DGA review and our BAFTA predictions for next week. I am Ashley, your MC. Welcome and bienvenue, welcome. Um, and Owen is being very still, so I don't know whether he's frozen. Oh no, he actually is frozen now. That's not me being paranoid. Um, and
It's either that or it's like performance art or something.
AJ is here, as you just heard. Owen might be here or something. I feel like I've walked into some sort of hybrid between the Blue Man Group and I
Well,
don't
we
know,
can't.
Gilbert. What's the
It
name?
seems like it has to be one of us because I was having terrible technical problems before we started, and now that we've started, I'm actually going pretty well. And now Owen's frozen.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Tension mounting. There we go.
Oh yeah.
As I was so rudely interrupted by technology. Hello, Internet! She is displeased already. This is not a good start for the show.
So, yeah, I'll briefly go over some of chat and whatever before we get into our quote unquote discussion about DGA. Um, Parsnip says, "Hey everybody, good to see you. Did terrible at DGA. Got 40% accuracy. I'm guessing you predicted like the television stuff as well, Parsnip, because I did better at the Art Directors Guild. I still haven't checked out what happened with that, but I'll check it up. But
I was
Parsnip also,
trying to go into my gold derby prediction so I could get more points, and I forgot for art direction because I started and then I got stopped and I didn't continue, so I didn't get those choices. I missed two on DGA Parsnip.
Parsnip says, have any of us seen A Better Place? Directed by Vincent Pereira, starring Robert DiPatri and Eon Bailey. Strong recommend. DVD release from Synapse is the only way to find it, though. Produced in association with Viewer Skew, Kevin Smith's production company. I can say no.
I haven't seen that now.
You'd think because it's me, I probably would have seen it, but no, it's never came across my field of vision. Always wanted to, I just never got around to it.
Given though the way you say only way to find it, I'm guessing it's probably an out of print disc. It'll be pricey. Josie says, just saw Zone of Interest. What a haunting, stomach churning portrait of indifference.
That's one way to put it.
Josie says, what I find interesting about the dynamic between the husband and wife is their lives are all about show and appearance. Huller's character being very materialistic and Friedel's officer being the top officer.
Pretty much knocks the nail right on the head, though, Josie.
Well, to some extent, Schindler's List had some of that as well, really.
Yeah,
Where Schindler was all about show and appearance at the first part. And then when, the realization of what was happening, then it sort of he adapted, sort of thing.
Without giving anything away about the Zone of Interest to AJ, who him and I are on the same even keel because of the fact he's had a chance to see the Zone of Interest. I haven't seen Maestro, so we both are kind of stuck at this point. Hence, the video coming out tomorrow is not going to be neither of them involved on our sides because we can't talk about them. With a Zone of Interest, the best thing I can describe is being comfortably numb in what's going on around you while everything is going around you. And you mentioned a lot of the cues in the movie. There is this doom gong that goes off a couple of times. That, yeah, it's extremely haunting. I totally agree with that. But I just I get the point of it. I think it's like, just, again, as a wise man once said, just not my bag, man. Just really isn't. Um, I'll say that I remember watching Belfast and The Power of the Dog, and I didn't get those right away, and I liked them both the second time I saw them. I cannot say the same about The Zone of Interest. It's easily number 10 for me, but I know that's not a very popular opinion. I don't really care, because that's my opinion. So you may or may not agree with me. Probably won't, but I just couldn't get into it. I tried twice. But speaking of things I couldn't get into, Tuesday, I'm finally giving another shot to Dune, because I'm sick and tired of everybody telling me how great it is. I'm going to give it one more try before the new movie comes out, and be wide awake and alert when I watch it so I can focus. And hopefully I'll have a different opinion by the time it's over.
Parsnip asks Josie, how often could you rewatch it? And Josie says, I'll definitely return to it from time to time, because it's a reckoning with history where I can pick out new things each time. But how often, Josie isn't sure. It would depend on what Josie wants to watch, because I like to watch and read stuff that others haven't heard of, as well as to expand horizons. And Bry brings up, I guess, the one thing we could mention in terms of, how we usually do it, where we go, what's the state of the race? Oscars have finally acknowledged that casting is a thing. And in 2 years' time, we'll finally have a Best Casting award at the Oscars. Why is it taking it this long, guys? I'm not trying to say BAFTA's, 10 years ahead of you, but they'll literally be 10 years ahead of you at that point.
Now, if it's going to be the new sound category, where it's like everybody knows it's here now, just nobody knows exactly what it entails. And how to well, I say this as like when the sounds were split up and everybody was like, which one is which. It's that kind of scenario of a lot of the discussion I saw around it, predictably, seemed to just think it's an ensemble award, which obviously not exactly, but yeah.
I mean, as long as it's people within the quote-unquote, because I think they are setting up an Oscar guild for it now. As long as it is casting directors will know what it is, so in that respect, they'll know. Josie says, my friend joked while we were watching Zone of Interest, maybe it's HGTV, home German television.
You don't realize how funny that is, Josie. I won't even lie about that. Especially some of those scenes.
Thinking of MST3K riffs, but trying to be careful knowing the sensitive subject matter, and I didn't want to be insensitive. But I thought something of jokes relating to props, like a spring catalogue for gardening, or a J. Crew winter catalogue with a big ass fur coat involved. I won't mention that, Parsnip, because that could be spoilers.
Yeah, that's giving something away, Ashley, 100%. Yeah, yeah, really.
And something to do with the sound of the thing being traumatic, so... Parsnip saying, I'm worried that Killers of the Flower Moon won't get a physical media release on Blu-ray or 4K because it's Apple. Given that Coda has still not gotten a release. The key thing to note, Parsnip, Killers is a Paramount film.
Mm-hmm.
If you notice, it's been available to rent on, it's not Apple, basically. Amazon has had it up for a number of weeks, and I think it's, at least over here, it's soon to be going into the actual, you can purchase it for not, $20 or whatever, not premium price, soon. Because it is a Paramount thing. Coda is Apple original, outright.
Mm-hmm.
The same with Oh, who is it that did Napoleon? Was that Universal or Warner Brothers?
I try to forget that movie exists.
Because I know that is also like available as a rental on Amazon, which it wouldn't be otherwise. So.
Columbia Pictures through Apple Original.
So it's a Sony.
Yeah, Columbia Pictures through Sony and then through Apple Original. So both.
Mm-hmm. Oh god, now it looks like AJ's frozen.
He looks asleep, actually.
Oh no.
AJ, stop playing me in the theater.
Are we back? Are we back now?
Yeah.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Yeah, no, I think you are. Yeah.
I need to make sure I take you to a tanning bed that gets you that little jolt so you can jolt back to life again.
Parsnip says we need a Patreon so we can get a microphone. I have a microphone. It's just from where I am. I don't have a rig that I can really sort of put it in my face like that. So that's why I have it away. Especially because I don't want to peak the mic. Because I can see from my bars that I peak the mic with some of my, noise anyway. I don't want you getting I have somewhat compassion for people with headphones. I don't try and deafen the shit out of you.
Not on purpose, at least.
No, that's when it comes to April.
Accurate in so many ways.
April 1st, it will just be me being really too loud and you won't be able to hear anything. And then you'll complain and I'll go, April Fools, that's what you wanted. I'll also bribe for the umpteenth time AJ still waits at the tragedy of Macbeth. I'm guessing that's a relation to Criterion, maybe. Or just in general, because it's Apple.
I mean, it'd make a perfect Criterion release. They've already got Polanski's Macbeth.
Josie's one. Josie's first time watches since last time. Green Grass of Home. Bebe's Kids.
There we go.
Foot Trot Flats, The Dog's Tale. The Park Bench. Dogfight. And Ghost and Mr. Chicken.
You wanted to laugh. You were trying your best. Shout out Jock Sampson.
Yes.
So Happy Poor Things got Art Directors Guild for Fantasy. Green Grass of Home is a wonderful love letter to teachers, directed by Hao Hussein, who did The Assassin and 3 Times. Josie had a blast with Bebe's Kids.
I love that movie, Josie. I won't even lie.
Yeah. Some trivia in the scene in the ladies' room. Robin says, "Look who's with here, old Vivian with them old skippies with a broke down back. Give me a break." Which is acknowledgeable because Nell Carter was the star of Give Me a Break.
Yep.
The first ever fully animated film to be rated PG-13 upon its release. Or upon its original release. With Cool World releasing 3 weeks before. Plague Dogs was originally rated PG upon its release, but the MPAA later re-rated it PG-13 when they added it in '84. Parsnip still mentioning on Yow getting some sort of physical release. I mean, it's A24, I wouldn't get your hopes up. Robin's license plates as the parking lot approaches Robin includes the letters BWS, acknowledging Bruce W. Smith, the director. And it was their Hyperion Animation's final animated theatrical film, following on from Brave Little Toaster and Rover Dangerfield. Everything else went direct to video. Okay, that might be. It says what dog would win in a fight: the dog in Anatomy of a Fall or the dog in Zone of Interest. Owen's the only one that can answer this.
I guess I'm biased, but the dog in Anatomy of a Fall is going through something that the dog in the Zone of Interest is not going through, and vice versa. So it's like they're kind of on an even keel, to be honest with you. They're both going through it, and they know that. So I think it's going to be a tie, honestly. I don't think there would be a. It'd just be over. We're going Broadway. There you go. If you know, you know.
Parsnip also saying why.
If I can get this out,
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, AJ.
if I can get this out before I have another technical difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
I heard an interesting point that I hadn't thought about the fact that the dog.
Oh no.
God bless American Dad. This
Okay.
is why Optimum's losing my mom's business, and that's a shoot.
We got to the dog.
Something about a dog, AJ?
The fact that the dog's name in Anatomy of a Fall is Snoop.
Yep.
Because the dog is like black and white and he's a dog, I automatically thought Snoopy. But learn in the first scene that the dad is apparently a fan of 50 Cent.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that is the correct statement.
Or perhaps rap is his genre.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's legit Snoop Dogg.
Is the dog, because he's a dog. Do you know who brought this to my attention?
There's a lot of it. I have an answer to this, but I don't know if I want to give it out loud.
She saw the movie. That would be my mom's observation. And I was like,
we were gonna get really metaphysical.
I actually
and say that's what Christopher Nolan said.
I actually do think it's likely that dog's named after Snoop Dogg because 50. I mean, not that they're like the same exact kind of music, but they're enough in the vicinity that it's like I think the dad has a certain type of interest in a certain genre he's interested in.
I agree. I completely agree. I'm also hoping that the times line up soon so I get another time to see Anatomy of a Fall because I'm trying to see everything twice nominated for picture. Maestro is going to be super difficult, but I've got Anatomy of a Fall one more time, Killers one more time, Maestro needs to be watched twice. And I've actually got to, and I need to see Past Lives one more time, officially, because I'm not counting the time I watched it in the theater versus when I watched it in the airplane. So I need to watch it in the theater one more time.
I'm getting ready to rewatch it again. I literally have my Blu-ray sitting right here.
Nice. Very cool. We'll talk about that movie in depth tomorrow, everyone. Trust me.
Parsnip says, why hasn't Criterion released Olivier's Hamlet on Blu-ray yet?
Oh, goodness.
Well, considering it took them, till 2004 to do a DVD release of it, they're behind anyway. Why wasn't it on VHS? Hunter Hiei has subscribed to the channel and given some stuff saying that
Thanks, Hunter. Welcome.
I think Oppenheimer's going to get Best Picture. I'm not ruling out holdovers, especially if it gets screenplay, supporting actress, and Best Actor. And Josie also mentioning that don't rule out Poor Things.
No.
Bry saying all these technical difficulties are because about the bowl of soup. And Bry is not touching it because of her.
Read between the lines.
I hope that's the case because tomorrow is definitely a time it'd be really fucking annoying to have these kind of difficulties.
This is the video that you have been the only reason this video hasn't happened before, I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, like a literal 24 hours ahead of ourselves, but the thing about it is the reason why it's taking so long is I wanted to give one more chance for Maestro to finally come across my field of vision. When I found out that the earliest chance I have to see of Maestro is going to be March 1st, I just gave up. It's like, I want to put Carrie in my lineups, but I can't because I haven't seen the movie.
See, I was gonna do the usual thing where I read out the nominees when we do the BAFTAs, but I think you or Ashley might have to. Yep.
I can do that.
Couldn't even get through that fucking. Could not.
I can be covered on that front.
Parsnip, were you when you made a comment that kind of got bogged down a little bit about me not giving the movie "The Shall Not Be Named" another chance, like I'm doing with Dune? You know, I don't think I can because I've already watched it twice. I've watched it with a clear mind twice, and it didn't work for me. Dune's the same way, but I will be honest, I fell asleep during the first time I saw Dune. I won't lie. I have no reason to lie to anybody. Giving it a shot tomorrow with cookie dough bites in my stomach and a what the Fanta frozen drink in my hand, making me more wide awake, I feel like will help. So hopefully that will get me hyped. But I will say, before AJ says anything, if he's able to, I'm actually more interested in the second Dune with the trailer. It looks like a better story for me than the first movie was.
And at the same point, you've now coached yourselves for long films. What with the 2 hours 40 of Napoleon, the 3.5 hours of Killers of the Flower Moon, your 3 hours of Oppenheimer.
Well, I liked two of those movies, and I absolutely hated one of them. And the one that I hated is probably one of the shorter ones. So there you go.
Yeah. And at the same time, you obviously had 3 hours of Drive My Car last year as well.
Twice, theatrically twice. Thank you very much. In California and here.
I still think if there's one thing that would bring you around a little bit on Everything Everywhere All at Once, would be if you watch Swiss Man first. You would hate Swiss Army Man so much it would make it seem better.
I think all the things you've told me about Swiss Army Man is enough to make me want to hate the movie anyway.
I despise Swiss Army Man, but I was able to. Everything Over All at Once took me a couple of tries, and there's still only certain things that I really like about it.
Like, okay, I know this is getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, and hopefully, AJ, you can hear me here because I know you're kind of bouncing around a little bit. Oh, yeah, what instead of VO, watch Stay Tuned. Yeah, I agree with that. That's a better idea, better time too. And Hunter also hated Swiss Army Man. No, I watched Lisa Frankenstein Friday, and you made this comment to me. It said Diablo Cody hasn't been really good since Juno, and I hated Jennifer's Body. And go ahead.
Take her or leave Young Adult.
Young Adult was okay. It was fine. But I mean, and normally the PS humor always like gets me. I know you absolutely hate it, and I get that. And when I was watching Lisa Frankenstein, first off, number one, I know someone. I can't say I know them personally, but they don't really know me very well. I know of them, we'll put it this way, who was like a doppelganger for Lisa Swallows in the movie, like to every way possible. So I know someone like this, and this person reminds me of the character like completely. Weird thing about this was it took me a minute to get into it, and I was watching it. I was like, it was like Kevin watching Wild Wild West until the big spider showed up. So basically, I was like, this is garbage. I mean, this is not funny at all. And then it got a genuine laugh from me. And then from that moment, it just kind of flowed for the rest of the movie, and I dug it. I mean, it's not my favorite movie I watched the other day because I got to watch Turning Red finally, and that movie was fantastic, especially in the theater.
I would certainly hope.
That the internet does not make anything want to destroy the computer.com. Go ahead, AJ, or attempt.
I said, hopefully Zelda Williams has some comedy in her DNA. So
you'd think so. It seemed really like it just didn't work. And then when it started working, that's when it clicked, and I hated the rest of the movie. And
I apologize in advance. I apologize in advance that this video is going to be fucking unwatchable.
We're doing the best we can with the technology that we have at this point. My apologies to everyone. A little bit more chat, Ashley, then we can kick into it.
Andrew also said that they're watching Past Lives tomorrow.
Nice.
Also adding, Swiss Army Man and Jennifer's Body was so bad, I'd rather watch Willem Dafoe yell at the top of his lungs for 2 hours.
Don't make me step through Antichrist again, please.
What wasn't it? Doesn't he yell for quite a lot of that film where he's the only one that's basically in it? Yeah, where he's trapped in like the house inside, or I think it's called, isn't it?
I'm ashamed to say I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that yet, but I desperately want to.
It wasn't at the theater long enough for me to see it. That's how much of a shelf life it had at my local theater, and I'm in an AMC that's got 24 screens. Go figure on that one.
I wish his Criterion Closet video had been 2 hours. That would have been amazing.
Try and cut off the trivia here, Josie, because I want to jump into sort of the main stuff. But faculty trivia, it was on this set that Harry J. Knowles first got wind of Peter Jackson making Lord of the Rings into a film. Urged Elijah Wood to go for it, even though he never read the book, which Elijah duly did, ignoring the news that they were only casting British actors, and he videotaped his own audition. The drug test scene is an homage to The Thing, or The Thing's blood test, I should say. At one time, the principals suggest saving money by reusing the set from Old Town. The joke in this is that Thornton Wilder's Our Town has no set. Elijah Wood, Clea DuVall, Jordana Brewster, and Sean Hatosi appear in Another Brick in the Wall Part 2, performed by the Class of '99, which features in the soundtrack. In keeping with her character, Stokely, Clea DuVall does not lip sync the lyrics with her co-stars. Parsnip says, "Did I say how I hope Annette Bening is an upset?" Emma Stone already has one, and Annette might never get one.
I'm never going to see Naiad, Parsnip. It's not an option at this point. No one's got it. It's not coming anywhere near me. I'll give it a chance if it comes to a theater, but I got lucky when I found out the other day that there's a possible chance I'm going to get to see Robot Dreams this year in a theater.
In a scene where students are being called to the principal's office, one is called Thomas Nix. In reality, that's one of Robert Rodriguez's friends from college who helped write Road Racers. And Pastor also says, as long as you're here, AJ, you are always watchable.
Thank you, because my patience is so fucking thin right now.
Yep.
So might everybody's for our discussion.
I can only imagine it's going to get worse.
So might for everybody, as we now discuss the DGAs. We got them all right. Move on. We're not trying to say we're not trying to say it was predictable, but even the clip that I saw that they showed of the DGAs, you know, a lot of people have said, "Dear Lord, this is like a Nolan Kingmaker moment."
It's time. It's more than time, and I feel that there is literally no competition at this point. I put a call to arms out to give Nolan a little bit of competition, to give Oppenheimer a little bit of competition, just to make it a fun race, so it's not just obvious. But I mean, you know, it's better than last year. That's for damn sure. And I liked Oppenheimer a lot. Great theatrical viewings of that movie twice.
The best part about this being a Nolan year is it's not a career win. It's actually his best movie.
That's fair. Anyway. No, I mean, you're not wrong.
A lot of people might tell you Interstellar these days, but I disagree.
I've always been a Prestige guy, but you know that.
Yeah.
And you know,
we're all Prestige guys.
Of course. And I'll never like steer from Batman, but the thing about it is, it's like, it's weird because it's like watching it with new eyes. It doesn't feel the same, and that's weird to say.
You know how committed I was to the Prestige. I watched it in fucking Fortnite when they did the whole Christopher Nolan movies in Fortnite. Because depending what region you were, I think some places got either Batman or Inception. I think. But Europe got the Prestige. I was like, yes.
Nice.
Since then, they've done 0 cinema screenings on the cinema thing in the game, so I guess that was too good a concept.
I see a couple more chat things that are in here before we go on to BAFTA predictions.
In case you want to know where the scores were, pretty much exactly the same, just add 3 to everything.
Yep, exactly.
So we are at 39 for AJ, Owen on 41, and I'm on 42.
Gotta change that shit. Well, we're probably not going to change that today, but
How'd you get an extra
hopefully
point?
before the season.
I thought I was winning. What happened?
Hang on. Have the numbers been added up wrong? Let's check. Critics.
While you're doing this,
the subtotals, if you include all the critics choice stuff with the globes, AJ had 36, you had 38, I had 39.
thought I was leading.
No, because there was a difference between you and me of 4, and then there was a difference between you and me of 3 for the critics choice combined. So that's why it's a net gap of 1.
That doesn't make any sense.
I do the math. Sometimes I'm wrong, but I double and triple check. So yeah, that's where we are.
Because I won Critics' Choice and you won the Globes.
Yeah. But it's still close. The fact that there's 3 points separating, nobody sort of... There's no 2 ahead of 1 or 1 ahead of 2.
I have to win this year. I do not want to lose again. I'm tired of it.
Hunter asks, would you want to see Nolan do a horror film?
Yeah.
A traditional horror style film, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could argue that Oppenheimer is horror in some respect.
By that way of thinking, so is the Zone of Interest.
And to some extent, Prestige gets rather horror-y when the Prestige is prestiged. Yeah. I guess
Close.
I guess the big reveal could be considered the Prestige within the Prestige. I don't know. Parsnip asks Owen, would you ever break down and subscribe to Net? Oh, go ahead, AJ. I forgot we got delay because of the issues.
I was gonna say I could see Nolan doing like one of those period gothic ghost stories or something.
Yeah. Like Nolan doing like a Sleepy Hollow. Like an Ichabod Crane movie.
I was thinking like something like The Innocents or something.
Excuse me. To answer your question, Ashley and Parsnip, no, I can't justify subscribing to anything right now. Money is tight, and that's the reason I don't have cable. That's the reason I watch AEW on streams instead, because I have no other option otherwise, because money does not make any sense. Now, if AEW goes to Max, which is possible, I may have to consider something else, but I guess we'll see what happens. But no, I'm no interest in Netflix, because usually if something is important enough for award season, it'll come my way. Or if it's a TV series, then someone will find a way for me to see it. I just don't have a way to subscribe to Netflix. It's too expensive and it's not worth my money.
More disagreement on Hunter hating Naiad and Parsnip loving it.
Josie says, as boring as sweeps are, I am so grateful we had the crop of movies we had in 2023. Yeah, movies was a solid thing about 2023. I forget about that when I think about the handful of things that were actually good about last year. We won't talk about the award season. I should have missed out on. That's beside the point. There was, by and large, a lot of really great films that came out last year. So, not the ones that won for the most part, but still.
Josie having eggplant pizza with turkey bacon for dinner. Where's the pineapple?
Having a chicken and fries later tonight after the show's over.
Josie wants a rom-com from Nolan. That could be interesting. I mean, we saw how well he can do with comedic stuff with that little skit he did with Colbert this week. Which randomly turned into Benny Hill, because, yeah, that's epitome of Britain. And then also, Cord Jefferson's second film is going to be an erotic thriller. Do we have any thoughts on it?
Let's go. American fiction is a hell of a way to make a statement, and I feel that anything he does moving forward is going to be noteworthy.
Is he adapting something again, or is this something original?
Well, I think he's only planning his film, so I don't know whether... I don't know
Sounds like it'd be
established what.
But I don't know.
Right. So now we get to BAFTA. Right. Clear my throat. So
AJ basically is not in charge of reading the things because of his internet service. So we're going to go ahead and do... It looks like Ashley's going to be taking care of everything tonight. I'm supposed to sit back.
Well, you know, it's the spreadsheet's usually in front of me anyway, so I have to read them off anyway. So, for outstanding British contribution to cinema, I can't remember, I think we mentioned it last week, June Giovanni, who's a film curator specialising in African-based movies, which means maybe she curated everybody over here to be aware of who killed Captain Alex. I don't know.
If only.
It may be. And then they've also announced this past week that Samantha Morton's getting the BAFTA Fellowship. I am happy with that. It's a surprise because usually they go with somebody that's more senior in their career. And dear Lord, I want to get a fellowship to bloody Michael Caine because I don't know how long he's got left. Please. So, as ever, we start off with the awkward one, the Rising Star Award. This is where we have 5 people that is publicly voted on, which is confusing as all hell anyway. So your 5 for this year are Phoebe Dynevor, Ayo Edebiri, Jacob Elordi, Mia McKenna Bruce, and Sophie Wilde.
As I said last time, Ayo and Jacob Elordi still keep jumping out at me, but Ashley made a case for Mia McKenna Bruce when we did this before, and like I said, I'm going to follow Ashley on this category. So, assuming that's still what he's thinking, that's what I'm going to say. But I can't get it out of my head that Ayo or Jacob Elordi could also happen, regardless.
I know Jacob came under fire for like something that he supposedly said on social media that, you know, made me think less about him.
Oh shit.
It's a toss-up to me between McKenna and Edebiri. I'm sticking with McKenna Bruce because she has more of the British following because of the dumping ground stuff. But it should be Edebiri's. But obviously I think, what was it, a couple of years back where nearly everybody was saying, "Oh, it's going to be the big name star," and I was the only one that was willing to sort of stick with, "Oh no, I'm probably going to say Michael Ward."
Yeah.
Um, so in that respect, that's why I'm sticking with Mia McKenna Bruce, because the British public voting factor, I think, might be more of a sway. Depending on who's voting. If I don't know where this is being advertised, I don't know.
So, okay. So, you just got to look back. First off, this category has only been a thing since 2005. So, it's like, it's a fresh category. And if you look at all the years of all the people that are big names that have done the straight JOB to a random person I've never heard of before, it just blows your mind. And it's funny because Etta Berry's got a fantastic year overall with like Bottoms and Turtles and obviously the Bear. And it's just like going to be a household name if they aren't already, which I'm sure that she is and she deserves to be. So that immediately tells me that she's probably out, even though everybody and their mother is saying that's the answer. But then again, you got to think like the public. You got to think about the GP. You got to think like a Mark. You can't think of like an industry anything. And yeah, and it's funny because How to Have Sex did really well, got 3 nominations at the BAFTAs, and it makes me think that one of its stars is going to push along. So I could go with the connection to the Bear. I could go with the connection to Saltburn and insert other things here. And I could go with Ashley refers to as the British skew. But, you know, it's funny because at the end of the day, I'm just making a long roundabout way to say that all three of us said Mia McKenna Bruce. And that's the only name I was ever going to go with.
Okay. Now to casting. We have All of Us Strangers, Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, How to Have Sex, and Killers of the Flower Moon.
Worst casting, Mary's casting, okay.
A part of me is saying How to Have Sex, but I'm going to say The Holdovers. We're keeping it short tonight.
Maybe for technical reasons, but
Yes.
oh, I want to say How to Have Sex is definitely not out of this, because in trying to get a young cast, you know, to try and reflect the story of that film, which is basically somebody that's sort of, can't remember whether their character's supposed to be 16 or 17, but they basically go out to Ibiza, and the title gives you a clue as to sort of what is involved. However, you know, let's just say consent might get thrown out the window in certain aspects, which makes it questionable. You know, that puts the drama into it. I'm thinking of Anatomy of a Fall for this one. Maybe just because of the casting of Oscar.
We'll talk about him tomorrow, don't worry.
Sometimes, you know, it's an aspect of that is sort of strong enough to bring it through, but I wouldn't be surprised if How to Have Sex actually came away with it here, but we'll get to that film in a bit.
All right. Again, I was always thinking that it was going to be like everybody's going to pick something different, and nope, that's how it works. I feel like Killers of the Flower Moon is being very much like underestimated at this point because we don't know what's going on. I mean, obviously everything is there, but we don't know how the puzzle fits for Lily Gladstone yet. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but we don't know if this is going to be where things start or continue in this case. Just depends on how you're looking at it. All of Us Strangers jumped out at me immediately. It is definitely an ensemble movie, and it is absolutely fantastic. And if you haven't seen it, go out and see it as soon as you can if you're able to. But yeah, again, it's one of those things. Ashley has not seen mine. I haven't seen his. I haven't seen AJ's. AJ hasn't seen anybody else's. But at the end of the day, it's weird because it feels like I'm piggybacking. I'm truly not. It's going to be a big day for Anatomy of a Fall, and I truly believe that to be the case. It's going to win casting here.
And the thing is, we can't say, oh, it's just British films that do well in this category, because from the previous 5 years, you've got Joker, Rocks, West Side Story, and Elvis.
Yeah.
Rocks very much stands out.
So, based on that, AJ is very smart in going with the holdovers. Especially because they thought enough to nominate Sessa here, which doesn't have many nominations across the board. And obviously they clearly like it, as they should, because it's fantastic. But the thing is, I think this is where Anatomy of a Fall kind of decides to become a player, and this is where it starts.
We shall see. Now, to the awkward one. The short.
Oh, we're going all the way there? Crap. Okay,
yes.
Hold on, I guess
I'm going back to the bottom, because casting's always... Because casting was the new one, it's just inserted there from where I just put it in last time.
Alright, and I hate the order. Okay, go ahead.
So, for shorts, we have... for British, live action short, we have Festival of Slaps, Gorka, Jellyfish and Lobster, Such a Lovely Day, and Yellow.
None of these have Wikipedia pages. None of them.
But the first person listed for Such a Lovely Day does, which is why I'm saying it.
So does... Well, the second one for Yellow does, if you want to go there. What do you got, AJ? What do you got, Ashley?
Let's go with the quirky named one. We'll go with Gorka.
Gorka. Okay. I don't know. Read it immediately just because of circumstance and obviosity, given the fact that this show kind of runs like rent-free in my head at all times. Jellyfish and Lobster jumped out at me immediately for obvious reasons. But the thing about it is, at the end of the day, it makes more sense. And I concur with AJ here. Such a Lovely Day is what I went with as well.
And then for short animation, we have Crab Day, Visible Mending, and Wild Summon.
I'm saying Wild Summon. Guess why?
Ashley, do you concur? I'll take that as a no.
I don't know, because I should, because, it managed to make it in the Oscar list. But Visible Mending is a partially locally made one to me.
Okay.
And it's like all done with hand knitted animals from the people that are talking about their experiences, about how basically knitting sort of the tagline for the thing is a group of stop motion knitted objects tell stories about how they've used knitting to mend themselves even if the repair is temporary. And because I think mental health should be considered a lot more than it is, I'm actually going for that. I'm willing to lose a point for something I think has a really, I'm not saying Wild Summon doesn't have an important message or whatever, but Visible Mending is a very nice way, and it's stop motion, which might give it more of a chance. Because you're not going to get Chicken Run when... Oh, you mean you might be able to. poop our pants. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't know that's what visible mending was about, and now that I've written it down, I can't go back on it. So yeah, I concur with AJ again. Wild summon.
Yeah. I mean, it does have the impact as well of Marianne Faithfull narrating it.
Honestly, that's the reason I went with it.
Yeah. Those of you that are interested, though, BAFTA put up all three up on their YouTube page, so you can actually watch them. So AJ, if you do want to catch up with Wild Summon in any shape or form, now might be the time before they probably pull it, but once the BAFTAs are done. So then, hang on, I'm gonna make sure I'm following the Wikipedia page now. Right, I need to jump in my list. We will go to the debut by a British writer, director, or producer.
Okay.
Here we have the co-directors and co-producers of Blue Bag Life. One of the two directors from Bobby Wine, the People's President. Two producers and the writer-director-producer of Earth Mama. Molly Manning. Okay. Molly Manning Walker's writing-directing job on How to Have Sex, and Ellie Glanderning's directorial job on Is There Anybody Out There? Just so I name the other people, the Earth Mama people are Savannah Leaf, Shirley O'Connor, and Meb Riordan. Christopher Sharp is nominated for Bobby Wine, although Moses Buwayo also directed, as it's mentioned. And then Lisa Selby and Rebecca Lloyd-Evans were directors on Blue Bag Life, and Rebecca, along with Alex Fry, were producers on the same thing as well. Just so I'm naming the people, because I felt like I was like not naming them, and then it's like, oh, there's only one name here, I'll name that out. Just to be fair.
Walker.
Yeah, I am also going How to Have Sex as well.
Yeah, 3 for 3 on this one. Molly Manning Walker.
We're 12 months on from After Sun. So, anybody that can do... that's why Earth Mama, I think, is in with a shot as well. When you have somebody that's willing to write their own vision and then direct it, is, I'd say, pretty good. And it's another case of we're highlighting female directors that need to be on people's radar. And writers, I should say. So. And then, for Outstanding British Film, we have All of Us Strangers, How to Have Sex, Napoleon, The Old Oak, Poor Things, Rye Lane, Saltburn, Scrapper, Wonka, and The Zone of Interest.
As we've talked about for many years, don't overthink this one.
Mm-mm.
I'm saying Poor Things.
Ashley.
Yeah, I'm gonna be going with Poor Things as well.
Well, the funny thing is yeah, overthinking it is a problem I have too. And I was wondering if they'd be like passionate enough to give it to something like Saltburn, or they give it to something that has, as Ashley refers to, as British skew, maybe How to Have Sex potentially, or give it to something like All of Us Strangers, which definitely deserves it, or just cop out and give it to the Zone of Interest. Honestly, at this point, I have to agree. I feel like this will be a really good night for Poor Things, and it deserves to. So yeah, Poor Things.
Right. Then to the VFX.
Okay. Alrighty.
If I can find it, there it is.
I got it. Let's go.
So we have Creator, Guardians Volume 3, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, ? Napoleon, and Poor Things.
The interesting thing about this is there's not an obvious one, is there?
Not really.
It's not like, oh, it's definitely this. And weirdly enough, it seemed like when it came to what's getting nominated for visual effects, there was one movie that was unanimous across the board for most people when we talk effects.
Yep.
Weirdly enough, that movie would be Creator.
Yep.
So I guess that's what I'm gonna say, just based on that, because there's no front runner, but it was like the most consistently mentioned in this category pre-nomination. So
Correct.
Oh, I'll go with Mission Impossible.
Not a bad pick, honestly. I'd love to go with Poor Things here, or throw Napoleon a bone. I don't agree with it, but I'm not the one voting. But yeah, like AJ mentioned, unanimously across the board, no matter what was in the conversation, no matter if it was the front runner or if it was just the fact it was getting nominated, it was always a foregone conclusion. The answer here is the creator.
I'm sure I'm jumping ahead here, but the fact that there's not really a clear front runner is making me feel like my Oscar choice is going to be the one that's not here. But that's for another time.
We got about a month for that one. We're good.
We've got to wait about a week or so to find out what the Visual Effects Society does.
True.
And given that it's visual effect guild people that do visual effects, allegedly, in terms of how it gets decided, that's always the sort of the way it might skew. Anyway, to the sound.
Okay.
Where we have Ferrari, Maestro, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1, Oppenheimer, and Zone of Interest.
It's got to be Oppenheimer, doesn't it?
Okay.
The thing is, I don't know. The bit that always stands out to me is like the stamping of the feet bit. And I'm trying to work out if that's soundtrack or whether that's actually sort of like trying to be the sound. I'm saying Oppenheimer, but it's that basically it's just those scenes where it's the that bit and just the way it's mixed and everything that I'm going with it for that.
So both Oppenheimer and the Zone of Interest have very important scenes where there is dead silence. And both of them, as much as I, again, not a fan of the movie, Zone of Interest actually makes it work really well. And if anything is a contender for Oppenheimer in sound, it's the Zone of Interest. But yeah, at the end of the day, this juggernaut's not going to be stopped. And, this time, unlike last year, I don't have a problem with it. Yeah, give it all to Oppenheimer.
Right, now to production design, where we have Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Zone of Interest.
I've been saying from the get-go, this is the battle of Barbie and Poor Things.
Mm-hmm.
Question now is if Barbie's going to start getting pity votes. Given how well one did here and one kind of didn't, I'm going to say Poor Things.
All right. Ashley, do you agree?
I'm thinking this is... I'll give this one to I'll give it to Poor Things.
I have to be the guy to say this, and after beating it a little bit, I'm gonna kind of nurse it back to Elf a little bit. I can't doubt the zone of interest here for sure. Cannot doubt anything in this category. All of them are justified wins. But yeah, in the battle of Poor Things versus Barbie, at this point, I'm just gonna go with what I've been thinking since day one. It's Poor Things.
Let me clarify that Barbie's production design is great.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just afraid that people are going to try to drive a narrative for Barbie to get. We're sorry we're sorry about your controversy. We'll give you something. I'm really afraid of that happening.
Well, as much as again, this is coming from the Greta fan on the panel. As much as you say that, if that were the case, Greta probably would have won DGA, but that didn't happen. So I don't think you have to worry about that happening.
Mm-hmm.
Then to score.
Cool. This is
Where
actually
we
tough.
have Robbie Robertson's posthumous score for Killers of the Flower Moon, Ludwig Göransson's Oppenheimer, Jerskin Fendrix's Poor Things, Anthony Willis's Saltburn score, and Daniel Pemberton's Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
The first three nominated ones, I feel like it could be either of those.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about Oppenheimer and Poor Things especially is the music plays such a big part in those movies' whole personalities. I'm going to stick with Göransson, but it could be any of those three.
I'm going to give the edge to Poor Things on this one. I'm trying to remember whether they gave... I'm just going to have a quick check. Did they give Ludwig a award for Black Panther a few years back?
I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, wasn't even nominated, I think. Oh, that's an interesting one. I'll still go with it. I'll still go with Poor Things, because it might they might try and go British skew, because it's somebody that sort of, it basically is their sort of their debut on the score scene, and they might want to say, you know, we want more scores from you, because I doubt Ludwig Göransson's going to go, well, if I don't win, I'm not doing any more scores, especially if you're just working for Nolan. It's like printed money.
I have a question about Poor Things' music. The dance scene.
Mm-hmm.
That's him as the band leader, and the band's actually performing that music live in the scene. So is that score or just a song?
That's a good question. I think there's arguments for both of them, actually.
I think, well, because the whole score was written by Fendrix. You know, the dance stuff, the I guess technically the only one is the soundtrack version of O Quarto, which was sung or co-written with Carmino, who's a Portuguese singer. But all the other stuff is also Fendrix's score, not just, you know, the song that was performed live. What I find interesting is both Bella and Lisbon were actually quote unquote released as singles. They didn't chart or anything, but they're officially listed as singles from the soundtrack. Also, I love this. They chose the weird lipstick version of Emma Stone's face for the cover for the soundtrack.
This is not as easy as you would expect it to be. And I feel that I have bounced back and forth with my answer several times. And honestly, part of me, which immediately got shut down immediately, wants to give it to Pemberton. But he's been nominated. He was nominated for being the Ricardos the year Dune won. That's not the reason I want to give it to him. They love Spider-Man so much. Might as well give it something. No. Saltburn would be great. I'd love that. That'd be fantastic. I don't think they're as inspired. So it goes down to the three. And AJ went with Oppenheimer. Ashley went with Poor Things. Both of them are correct answers. But you know what? This contest is going to get really uninteresting real fast if we keep saying the same things. So, hi, my name is Owen. I'm a member of the Tortured Poets Department, and I select Robbie Robertson for my answer for Killers of the Flower Moon.
That's a good answer as well.
I think all of them are justified, and all five are. I mean, Spider-Man's the weakest of the group. That's because it's like it doesn't really jump out at me, but it makes sense in the course of the movie. So yeah, all five are justified to be here, and all five of them would be valid winners. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Killers here. It's got to win something. Just has to, please.
So, for makeup and hair.
Yeah, since Gladstone's not here.
Yeah, exactly.
For makeup and hair, we have Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things.
All right. In the immortal words of Cameron, I gotta take a stand.
I know where you're going with this.
I know. I know everybody's having so much fun hating this movie.
Yep, I knew you were going to go there.
But I gotta be real with you. Really look at it fairly. I'm gonna call bullshit if Maestro does not sweep this category, regardless of the movie's reputation. There's great stuff. Like, I think it's a testament to Willem Dafoe's performance that when Poor Things comes up in this category, I always forget about his face. I just don't think it's like, oh yeah, what they did to Emma Stone. Yeah, I can kind of get. I completely forgot there's a deformed character in this movie.
Yes,
I think that's a testament to Dafoe's performance, by the way.
You're not wrong.
And yeah, Oppenheimer, there's like, they changed Downey, what they did to Tom Conti, that 30-second scene where everybody's kind of old. But okay, Bradley Cooper is only old Bernstein for like 5 minutes of the movie. But the detail on him in those scenes is insane. Scene where he's dancing to Shout in the club, even though that's kind of a dark scene, you can see the details on like his fucking neck, and he looks old. He looks like an old person. That does not look like makeup to me.
Well,
that would by far be the most deserving winner, regardless of how you feel about the movie. And I think that needs to... How everybody else is saying about the movie is just Oscar bait should not be detrimental to the fucking makeup. Because Jesus Christ.
I mean, to some extent, I'm not surprised with the makeup, because one of the key people behind the Maestro makeup is Kazuhiro, the guy who got all the credit for Darkest Hour and Bombshell. And also worked on Norbit, you know, which was somehow nominated, but there you go. um, I'm gonna give the edge to Poor Things, but I can certainly, Maestro's very shoutable. Killers, because you've obviously got people being affected by the poison and whatever, and getting the makeup for that.
Yeah.
It's oh, really, Oppenheimer's sort of the semi outsider of this one, unless you really want to say that was Tom Conti as Albert Einstein. The hell. I feel the other four are stronger, but I'm gonna give the edge to Poor Things because obviously, not just Defoe and Bella, but some of the other people have got things wrong with them. So.
So, because I have yet to see Maestro, I'm at an extreme disadvantage here. And I will not see Maestro for at least 3 more weeks. But I will definitely see it before we do our Oscar predictions, if everything lines up the way I believe it will. So, of course, I can't say anything about anything. I've seen a trailer here and there. I've seen a TV spot here and there when I was watching the stream for AEW. But because I can't always get the Fight TV stream, but I usually do, so I don't have to worry about commercials. I'm gonna go Poor Things here, but AJ's not wrong, and I know from experience he really wants to talk about Maestro, and we're going to eventually when I can finally see the damn movie. So let's put a pin in that for now. But he has a very compelling argument, but I'm also going to go with Poor Things here.
Yeah, I mentioned that. I didn't even mention the hands and arms too. It's all stellar. It's insane.
I can't wait to see it. You've actually compelled me to be, well, not just because I'm a carry mark and everybody knows that, but I mean that's beside the point.
Yeah,
I'm really excited for this movie.
Yeah, what you're getting at is not a spoiler alert for tomorrow, but for a future video. I'm coming around on Maestro.
Yes, you are.
I think it took it getting bombarded with hate, but I'm coming around on Maestro.
As of this moment, March 1st looks to be correct if that works out. If not, I can guarantee the week of, I hate to say it, just like always, the week of the Oscars, I finally get to see the 10th Best Picture nominee in a theater, and it's the same theater you're expecting it to be, like it always is.
So we transition to editing, where our 5 contenders are Anatomy of a Fall, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest.
Check something.
It's really annoying to not have seen The Zone of Interest and to not have any frame of reference.
Hi, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me, Mr. Not Seeing Maestro.
Do I need to try again with that?
You got your point across.
Okay. I mean, once again, it seems pretty obvious, but it's really, really gotta be Oppenheimer, doesn't it? I mean, that movie is technologically top tier in nearly every category.
Actually,
I'll say Oppenheimer as well.
Oh.
Go ahead, AJ.
I was just gonna say, I guess my backup choice would have been Anatomy of a Fall, but Killers of the Flower Moon definitely is not out, I wouldn't think.
Yeah.
some of the sequences in the zone of interest, I can see where it definitely has a justified spot in editing. It's funny you mentioned Anatomy of a Fall, AJ, because that was always my choice, and that's what I'm going to go with. It won casting, it wins editing. Let's see how far it goes. But Poor Things is not to be discounted here at all. Not close. Clearly, BAFTA likes it, and clearly want to give it things. I think Anatomy of a Fall might be a movie that a lot of people are underestimating. Could be proven wrong. Possible. But we'll see.
Well, as far as this category, I would say Anatomy of a Fall's flow is one of its biggest strengths.
Agreed.
Next to costume design.
Alrighty.
Where we have Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things.
I think this is also a battle of Barbie and Poor Things, but I could see BAFTA doing something off the cuff, like Napoleon.
Yeah. Is that what you're picking?
I don't know, because for some reason I can't bring myself to say, but I would have said Barbie for production design before I said costumes, I think. And I don't know. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to say Napoleon, actually.
And that's how AJ takes the lead.
Let's take a risk. Why not? Just one swing.
All right. Ashley, what are you going with for costumes?
Just because I feel, because of the variety, this might be the one that Barbie actually wins. Also, it seems to be a rule of thumb, roughly, that Jacqueline Duran wins every 5 to 6 to 7 years. So she's only
won 3 times out of 10 nominations in BAFTA.
Yeah.
She hasn't won since Little Women, so it's been a minute since she's won.
Yeah, and I think the other one was Anna Karenina back in 2012.
Correct.
It's just really for the variety of the stuff that you have to design. Because the amount of different Barbies and Kens that you need to sort of get the right image and the profile for the actor that's playing it and everything. And whereas, in that respect, it's sort of casting-esque. It's more the case of, if you try and put a Barbie outfit on some designs, if it isn't designed well, it's not going to look very well. It's not going to look very good, which is not what you want from a Barbie in real life as well as on a film.
Talking about doing the different Barbies and Ken.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just weirdly, when you were talking about there having to be specific costumes for specific Barbies and Kens, this sounds weirdly similar to the Black Panther conversation. as far as costumes.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say that one. I'm probably going with the wrong Jacqueline for some reason, because obviously Killers has got a lot of. That's the thing. Killers has got a big cast, so you have to design a lot of costumes for them. But of course, some of them could be somewhat generic. Barbie's a lot of them have to be sort of quote unquote iconic. That sort of style, so that's why I'm going with that. Watch it be Poor Things. I'll be happy because, be a first time nominee getting in, but
It's that conversation we've had so many times. But I don't need to defend anything here. I'm giving this to Barbie.
Although again, I could see all 5 winning. There's nothing here
Absolutely.
that seems to be an outright favourite, really. It's just my reasoning, whether that is correct or not. Then we jump to cinematography, where we have Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Zone of Interest.
Guys, I do not know.
This is tough.
Obviously, Oppenheimer's been my go-to answer for practically any tech.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not ruling out Killers, and a part of me is also kind of leaning towards Poor Things.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting to a point where Oppenheimer almost feels too obvious.
That's when it becomes dangerous, especially predicting things.
Yeah. Now, something in me really went towards Poor Things, like, instinctively for some reason. So, just to speed this up, and before I lose my fucking computer again, I'm just gonna say Poor Things, I think.
Okay. Ashley.
Just because I feel like I need to throw it a bone. Zone of Interest.
I mean, just some of those shots, especially when it goes like in between, like I can't really call it like black and white, but if you know, it's kind of like how the image is flipped. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. That right there is enough to justify putting it in cinematography. And it's funny because in this case, AJ and I are going to do what we normally don't do. We're going to pick the opposite movie. AJ's going with the answer I would normally would give, and I'm going with the answer AJ would normally give. I'm going with Oppenheimer.
I do have one thing to say while we're on this topic. I love Poor Things, and I love Lanthimos.
Yes.
I still don't get the fisheye thing. I didn't get it in the favorite. I don't get it in Poor Things, but it's not excessive, so whatever.
The voyeur thing and the concept of that, especially the second half of the movie, makes it fit to me at least.
No, because a lot of times we see the fisheye in Poor Things, we're in public places.
That's also true.
Okay, yeah, like I think there's like 1 or 2 during the sex scenes, right? That kind of makes sense. The scene where he beats up the guy in the dance scene doesn't make sense.
No.
And the scene on the boat when he throws the book doesn't make sense to me. But maybe I'm just a Philistine.
Nice.
Like I said, I didn't get it. I didn't get it in the favorite either. So
Fair.
Whatever.
We're going. Okay, Ashley next.
I was hoping to transition there, but then I realised nobody in the production cast is listed as a Phil. So, to best film not in the English language, because there's one film that is definitely not foreign here. We have, well, technically 2, I guess, maybe. 20 Days in Mariupol, Anatomy of a Fall, Past Lives, Society of the Snow, and The Zone of Interest.
I'm not going to overthink it. I'm just going to say Anatomy of a Fall.
Ashley.
I mean, yeah. I want to say Zone of Interest, but I've already thrown it a bone. And this is where I sort of have to throw another bone towards Anatomy of a Fall's Way. Because that must be the reason why it's in the 5, right? Right?
We'll get there. Don't worry. And obviously, I feel like I'm the biggest like mark in the world for it based upon my predictions. But at the end of the day, I'd love Past Lives to win this. That'd be nice. I'd like it to win something. Um, Tomorrow's coming. Don't worry. If you know, you know. Um, yeah, it's down to Anatomy of a Fall and Zone of Interest. And since I made a bold bucket statement at the very beginning of the show stating the Anatomy of a Fall is going to become a contender after tonight, oh yeah, it's Anatomy of a Fall.
Then to the documentary, where we have also 20 Days in Mariupol, along with American Symphony, Beyond Utopia, still a Michael J. Fox movie, and wham!
I'm just gonna state the obvious and say 20 Days in Mariupol.
Ashley?
It's a toss-up between Beyond Utopia and 20 Days, but I'll stick with 20 Days in Mariupol.
And although I would love to give poor Andrew Ridgely a bone, I can't. So no matter for the British skew or not, as I'm sure everybody that has listened to music during the month of November and December absolutely hates Wham for obvious reasons. I still think 20 Days in Mariupol is the movie to beat, which makes me think that it's not going to win the Oscar. So I guess we'll get there. We get there.
I kind of do feel, having now seen the trailer for it, I wonder how close 20 Days in Mariupol is going to match to Civil War. Because Civil War does seem very sort of the perils of having to report in the middle of a war zone, which is very Mariupol-esque. So, did Alex Garland get a secret screening? Who knows?
Ooh.
Oh,
speak to that real quick. For live chat right now, we'll get to everyone after we get everything predicted because we want to do our predictions before AJ's computer dies. So we'll get there in a second. Animated?
To animated, yes, where we have Boy and the Heron, Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget, Elemental, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. As ever, we just randomly have 4 here.
This one's bothering me. Because it seems like the most obvious thing in the world to say BAFTA would go with The Boy and the Heron.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, I still kind of want to say Spider-Man. Oh, God. But if I go with Spider-Man, it ends up being with the boy and the Heron, it's going to be like, a fucking course it is. And it's going to be annoying.
What do you got, Ashley?
Hold on, I didn't say anything.
He didn't declare.
I thought you did. Sorry, my fault. I was reading something. Go ahead.
I'm gonna be more pissed if I don't say The Boy and the Heron and it ends up being The Boy and the Heron, so I'm gonna say The Boy and the Heron.
Just on the fact that Miyazaki's never been nominated since this category was formed in 2005, I feel I have to go with Boy and the Heron.
So you're telling me I have to go, so I'm kind of compelled to go with the choice I don't want to win versus the movie I'm not a big fan of, which everyone on the panel is going on, all in on. It's going to be one of those award seasons, isn't it? Lord and Miller, of course, nominated for Mitchell's versus the Machines in 2021. they also don't have a history of doing very well, but they Into the Spider-Verse won last time around, and Lord Miller won for the Lego Movie. So yeah, there's precedent. It's down to the two. You know, Spider-Man won before. Boy in the Heron makes more sense, but at this point, I feel like BAFTA shows up the race permanently, unless the Annies decide to go a different route, which doesn't matter. It's Spider-Man.
And then to the 8. So, for adapted screenplay, we have Andrew Haigh for All of Us Strangers, Cord Jefferson for American Fiction, Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, Tony McNamara for Poor Things, and Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest.
Am I wrong, or is this another one where there's no clear favorite?
There really isn't.
Which makes me want to go with the only one that doesn't have an Oscar nomination.
Interesting.
I think I've been thinking about this category while we've been doing the others. And I think I'm going to say All of Us Strangers for this.
I would not be displeased with this.
Let us not forget, all 8 of the big winners last year did not win Oscars.
True.
Some of them won in categories they weren't nominated in at the Oscars. So, but was last year an anomaly in that sense? Because when you look back, there's also been years where, recent years, where BAFTA matched everything at the Oscars. I think 2020 might have been one of those. So it could go either way, but for this particular one, I'm going to say the one that doesn't have the Oscar nomination, with All of Us Strangers.
Do not have a problem if you're right.
I'm going to go on a limb and say American Fiction.
Oh,
Ooh.
nice. I wouldn't have a problem with that either.
Because,
It's
they can only give Nolan so many awards, right?
Well,
Yeah.
American Fiction is a particularly bold. American Fiction's a particularly bold pick because it doesn't have any other nominations, right?
Nope.
That'd be very interesting.
That's very BAFTA too.
I kind of want to see that happen. Whatever that is.
It's interesting because it's a great lineup, and based upon what I've said the whole time, I think you know where I'm going with this. Going All of Us Strangers is very impassioned. Don't have a problem with it. Love that movie. Going with Cord Jefferson is awesome. I love that movie. Love Oppenheimer, but I don't think Nolan's in this. And I don't want Glazer to be in this, but it wouldn't surprise me if they are. I was always going to say Tony McNamara, and I feel like it was a foregone conclusion. I'm going with Poor Things.
What I think especially great about All of Us Strangers is that I actually just recently learned that apparently the book is closer to horror. And he turned it into like this beautiful drama instead.
Based upon what I was seeing the movie, I know that like the concept can be played for horror if they really want to do it that way, but they turned it into basically a love story, a twisted love story nonetheless, but a love story.
Yeah.
But they do a lot with it, honestly. Of course, Ashley disappears when AJ has bad internet, and I'm great at stalling.
Have I mentioned
Have you seen it yet?
Yes, I have.
Yes,
I was gonna say, did I establish that yet?
No, you have not. Let's go.
Mini review. I don't know what we're mini reviewing.
Oh, that's great.
Well, right. With it, with internet like this, I'm not yet.
Nope. Definitely not. Oh my god.
Owen, what did you predict, by the way?
I went 4 things.
Yeah, hopefully tomorrow I will be able to talk about All of Us Strangers.
Right, we'll save it till then.
Isn't it okay? Without saying anything and giving anything away, isn't it weird that Frankie Goes to Hollywood now has a different connotation in your life now?
That was a beautiful use of it. I was not expecting that.
Tell me about it.
I don't even know how that shot was accomplished, by the way.
Oh. It's so freaking awesome, too.
Appropriate that, given we're talking music, I might as well mention it here, even though it isn't nominated. Sophie Ellis-Bextor will be performing at some point in the show Murder on the Dance Floor.
I was going to say that,
To
too.
acknowledge that bit in Saltburn.
Let's go.
And I think even when we clarified Andrew Haig's pronunciation of his surname, the whole... I can't remember what the other thing was, whether it was TV or another movie, but it was acknowledging how basically a lot of the films that are in contention this year have scenes inspired by 80s or 90s music.
Yeah, that's very correct.
So, to original screenplay, we have Justine Triet and Arthur Harari for Anatomy of a Fall, Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach for Barbie, David Hemmingson for The Holdovers, Bradley Cooper and Josh Singer for Maestro, and Celine Song for Past Lives.
This is annoying because unless they're going to throw Barbie a bone, there's 2 movies in this conversation. And the argument could be made for both that they did incredibly well nominations-wise.
Yeah.
It's interesting that Holdovers doesn't have any technical nominations. But I still feel like it overperformed by getting Sessa in and Payne in, really.
Not incorrect statement.
So I genuinely don't know. But I think I was leaning towards the Holdovers.
Ashley?
Past Lives. All these predictions that I'm
rolling
making,
the dice on these screenplays.
all these predictions that I am making, where I purposely now take, I think it's been for the last 3 years, the British guy's done worst on the BAFTAs. So let's keep the trend continuing. Come on.
You're expecting me to go with Greta and Noah, aren't you?
No. I'm expecting
Definitely
either
not.
Holdovers or Anatomy of a Fall.
Yeah, Justine Triet.
There we go. That was quick.
Yep, that's all we have to say. Check.
So, to supporting actress, hang on, I've got to say this right. BAFTA nominated actress Emily Blunt. We also have Danielle Brooks for The Colour Purple, Claire Foy for All of Us Strangers, Sandra Huller for Zone of Interest, Rosamund Pike for Saltburn, and Devine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers.
Well, I know maybe I shouldn't jump the gun as quickly because we did see the unstoppable Quan train derailed by Mr. Murder on the Dance Floor himself last year.
Correct.
But I don't know who would be Randolph for some reason. So I'm gonna stick with this Randolph train.
This is where I get to say British skew, and I actually think Blunt might get this.
Oh, god dang you.
Don't do this to me. Don't give me any hope.
Hey, you know, nobody saw Dev Patel winning, but because he was British, he won. I think there's a lot of acknowledgement of holdovers, but I don't know whether it's got. Randolph is the most likely to be the win, but I see it more of a 50-50 between her and Blunt here than I do in any of the other ceremonies. Especially because Blunt is another one that I don't think has won a BAFTA, yet alone, Oscars and whatever. So yeah, she only won for Gideon's Daughter was a television nod rather than actually, because she's got she in terms of film stuff she got Devil Wears Prada nom for supporting, and then lead for Young Victoria, Salmon Fishing in the Yemen, Into the Woods, and Mary Poppins Return. No, sorry, fuck. Looking at the wrong one. This shit. Somehow she got in for Girl on the Train. I wouldn't say that was a great film, but she made it in. And of course she got nominated in Rising Star when she lost to Sheila Beef.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see BAFTA give her something. She's been around for 20 years. Because we're probably not giving her anything for the Fall Guy.
So this is a tough one for me because if there was going to be somebody that was going to dethrone the Randolph train, I was looking to Claire Foy, which is very, very justified. Danielle Brooks would be nice too. I would like that a lot. Like that performance to get some more wins instead of just accolade nominations. I know I'm not the jinx that AJ has proven to be in the past, but he got his girl nominated, and I still haven't got a chance to get mine nominated yet, but we'll get there. I'm going to have to say that the Randolph train continues, and I feel like this is the end. This is when it's all sewn up and there's no competition for Randolph. If anybody beats Randolph here, then we actually have a race, but if not, she's just literally going to skirt all the way to the end. I don't want that to happen, and I love the holdovers, as everyone knows, and you'll know more tomorrow, but nah. I want Ashley to be right here, but I don't want it to come to the point of me losing a point. So, priorities, my friends, priorities.
If all these risks mean my lead extends, this will be crazy thinking. People will think that I somehow have got access to the vote. Not that clever.
But if I had to pick anybody other than Randolph to win, in my mind, it would be Foy. And if they love All of Us Strangers that much, it's possible. But I don't think that's going to happen. I guess we'll see next week.
For supporting actor, we have Robert De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon, Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer, Jacob Elordi for Saltburn, Ryan Gosling for Barbie, Paul Mescal for All of Us Strangers, and Dominic Sessa for The Holdovers.
I think if they want to shake it up, they could go Gosling.
Mm-hmm.
I could easily see them wanting to get really weird and going with Paul Mescal.
I would love that.
But I'm going to, with fingers crossed, stay on the Downey train.
Ashley.
I will stick with Downey as well.
I would love to see Mescal take this. I'd like to see De Niro win this at this point to prove why he's here. No one for Poor Things has got nominated, so that's immediately out. I don't think they're going to go for Sessa. Elordi doesn't seem like something that I could see them doing. Gosling is something I definitely could see them doing. But again, a long roundabout way to say I concur with the panel. Robert Downey Jr.
To actress.
Ooh, do I want to do that?
Fantasia Barrino for The Color Purple, Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall, Kerry Mulligan for Maestro, Vivian Oppora for Rye Lane, Margot Robbie for Barbie, and Emma Stone for Poor Things.
I hope you can hear me. It's getting so much fucking worse. So the easy answer is Stone.
Right.
The easy A answer is Stone. But have not been able to take my eye off of Hüller in this conversation. How interesting would that be? Cool would that be? How much would all of us be totally okay with that?
Absolutely.
Question is do I say it? Sure. I guess so. It's like in Chasing Amy when Banky agrees to the threesome. Sure.
What do you got, Ashley?
Oh shit! I'm knocking the mic about. More often than not, this goes to the one that's in Oscar contention, which has me a little mixed. I'm saying Emma Stone, but part of me is just wondering whether Vivian Oppora is going to win for Rye Lane. It's going to be akin to... It's just that Joanna Scanlon win from 2 years ago stands out. That being said, obviously everyone that was in that race, or the significant people, weren't really in the race when it came to the Oscar nominations. So you could see it was a very good year for Scanlon to get the recognition. But, I'm just hoping that she isn't in there so we fit diversity quotas. I want her, Part of me also wants it to be Margot Robbie, because there's always one which gets in that isn't even in the Oscar list, usually. Which Margot would fit. But I'm going to edge it to Stone.
So if you're paying attention, you probably know what I'm going to say before I even say it.
It's Fantasia.
I wouldn't have a problem with that, actually. I can't say anything about Rye Lane or Maestro, but obviously it's Carrie, so I'm going to be biased, even though I haven't seen the performance. Lily Gladstone isn't here, and unless we're going to stop seeing her winning, which we'll know at SAG if that's a thing or not, this is when Emma Stone needs to take off, or we need to get an outlying performance that puts someone else in the running, and maybe, just maybe, there's a new competitor on the block. Maybe this person's been in front of our eyes the entire time. You people have been blind to it. But like I said before, strange things happen at the BAFTAs. I'm going to go with Sandra Hüller here. Anatomy of a Fall is a player. This night is going to be custom made to show the world that.
Then to lead actor, where we have Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Colman Domingo for Rustin, Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, Barry Keoghan for Saltburn, Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, and T.O.U. for Past Lives.
Once again, I'm going to take the expectation and I'm going to flip it.
Mm-hmm.
We've been talking about Murphy and Giamatti splitting these.
Right.
These being SAG and BAFTA.
Sure.
The very obvious thing would be to say it's Murphy for BAFTA, Giamatti for SAG. I'm going to flip that. Yeah. I'm going to say, and like I said, it can't be. I mean, obviously Oppenheimer and doing what it's doing, but BAFTA really took to the Holdovers too. Even if it didn't get any technical nominations, when it got to the Big 8, they went fucking all in on the Holdovers.
Got 7,
which is where it counts.
Yeah.
So, I feel pretty comfortable saying Giamatti here, even though it could be. I mean, we could be overthinking it. It could not even be a split. Whoever takes BAFTA could also take SAG, and that's the end. That's the end of the actor race.
Mm-hmm.
But it almost feels too obvious to say Murphy for this and Giamatti, or both of them, or one of them for both. So I'm gonna fuck with a little bit. I'm gonna say Giamatti here. So, see what that does.
Ashley.
I feel there's going to be too much British skew to not recognise Cillian Murphy for his work over the past 2 decades. Especially because when you look at a lot of the stuff he's done over the past 2 decades, not a lot of it has been leading stuff. There's been bits here and there, like 28 Days Later and Breakfast on Pluto and things like that, but a lot of the stuff is, yeah, a lot of the stuff, bar, Peaky Blinders, which obviously went on for years, and he's even saying now, if they want a 50-year-old Tommy Shelby, I'm doing it. Yeah, I'm going with Murphy, because it'd be beautiful to see him finally get a BAFTA for all his contributions.
There's an obvious answer to this, and I feel that AJ hit it right on the head. I think he's right, but I think he's wrong in a way too, because I do believe something is winning both, and I think out of absolute nowhere to anyone that's not paying attention to the award shows, Giamatti's going to steal this from Murphy and end this right here and now. He's taken SAG and BAFTA, and he's going to take the Oscar. Paul Giamatti, The Holdovers.
It is crazy how many. Usually there's like one front runner that everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like anytime you see anybody bring up Cillian Murphy, it's like he's going to win Best Actor this year. And anytime you hear anybody talking about Paul Giamatti, somebody says he's going to win Best Actor this year. Like everybody, there's a lot of different people convinced of very different things, which makes for a very interesting race.
But again, that being said, we all win no matter who wins because they're both outstanding performances that deserve to be not only nominated but also both deserve to win. Since we can't get a split, or we can't get a tie, I'm okay with either one being correct because they're both right.
I forgot that Giamatti never actually got nominated as well for Sideways.
Sideways?
This is his
No, he
first
did not.
BAFTA.
It is time.
Oh,
You're gonna go where are we going? What's our chip shop in the UK we can go to instead of In-N-Out in the circumstance?
Harry Ramsden's. That's a big.
Yeah,
that's
exactly
a big
what
fish
it
and
is.
chip
Yeah,
chain.
right on.
Oh, Michael Caine has tweeted, "We'll stay up all night to see Super Bowl." It's we'll stay up.
Okay.
It says we'll stay up all night to see. Then I guess he pressed enter, and then Super Bowl was on its own line. I'm guessing that's him tweeting them then.
If not, believe it. Just like when the Iron Sheik had Twitter.
Yeah, Super Bowl in Las Vegas. Love Las Vegas, got married there. It's like the less sweary version of the Iron Sheik right now. That's what I'm following. God, I really want him to watch Monday Night Raw right now because he might say, "I also agree with R-Truth. Live, life, love."
So, like I've been saying, since we started getting award shows, I don't want to get my hopes up about the movie I'm actually rooting for.
Yep.
But are these last two categories going to be pretty quick?
I hope so.
Quick and hopefully accurate.
And then we'll knock out chat, take it home, and we'll do our show tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. So, for director, we have Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Jonathan Glazer for Zone of Interest, Andrew Haig for All of Us Strangers, Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, Alexander Payne for The Holdovers, and Justine Triet for Anatomy of a Fall.
All right, so I don't have to do the whole thing about, oh, I know it's what I want, but is that what it's going to be? Now the DGA has my back. I'm gonna say Nolan.
If there's anybody that's going to cause the upset, I honestly wonder whether Glazer and Payne are in this more. The obvious upset, I guess, would be Trier. But no, again, the fact that even BAFTA haven't given Nolan anything yet is kind of amazing. So, partly for career, but also partly for an exceptional film, I'm also sticking with Nolan.
You're expecting me to say Trier, aren't you? No. I said it's going to make an impact, and it will make an impact, and it deserves to make an impact, and it should make an impact. It's going to make an impact. But at the end of the day, Nolan, there's no competition, and there never has been.
I don't think anybody was thinking you were going to say Trier.
I hope not.
I thought you were going to say I was going to say Bradley Cooper, and I'm like, what?
No, to be fair, if there's anybody that we need to watch out for, it's Payne. Especially with the much as they love the holdovers, but nah, no one's beating Nolan.
I would say Glazer's the one to look at after Nolan, but I don't know.
And then to best film, where we have Anatomy of a Fall, solely one producer apparently only on the holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, or Poor Things? Do we have, do we have the opportunity of a Frances McDormand-esque? I get the actress and the picture because I produced this shit. And why is the answer no?
They could do something crazy like last year, but I'm gonna say Oppenheimer.
Ashley.
I am sticking with Oppenheimer as well.
Oppenheimer.
Now I can press save and close that and not worry about that until... Oh no, I probably won't close it because I'll have to note what happened in the other things and start getting that part of the spreadsheet together. But to the chat, because we've got a lot to... Admittedly, mostly it's predictions, at least from Parsnip for a fair bit. Parsnip has... Gold Derby has Jacob predicted, but I don't believe him. Parsnip's Rising Star prediction is Edibiri.
That seems to be a safe choice.
I don't think everybody and their mother's saying that. Jacob is highly predicted by Gold Derby, but I disagree. It's probably because internationally that's the only one that they sort of recognize. Back in the early years of that category, it very much went not English people. You look at your Eva Greens, your Shia LaBeoufs. I'm trying to think. Yeah, your Kristen Stewart's in 09. It's only really been British, or predominantly British, for everything else pretty much, even McAvoy. Which says a lot because when you see that he was up against Rachel McAdams, Michelle Williams, Gael Garcia Bernal, and Chiwetel Ejiofor, that's a good list in itself.
Nice.
It's always interesting to sort of looking at the list and those that sort of, where are they now sort of thing. Like, remember Tang Wei and Lost Caution? Apparently that got her a Rising Star nomination. So, I don't feel I've heard anything much of her since.
She was the one in Black Hat, wasn't she? Is that the only other thing?
I'm trying to remember. Hang on. Film. Oh, she was in Decision to Leave as well. Long Day's Journey into Night. Yeah, there's Black Hat. That was her English language debut. I don't know how many other English language films she's done since. So, oops. Casting is All of Us Strangers. Josie says I wouldn't rule out Killers of the Flower Moon upsetting in Best Original Song to honour Indigenous people. There's no original song, Josie. I know you mean regarding the Oscars. All of Us Strangers is coming to Hulu February 22nd.
Nice.
Problem with Anatomy of a Fall here is it's not a British film. I just think it's going to be a British film that gets it. I'm guessing that's regarding casting. So so that means Elvis is British and West Side Story is British. and Joker is British. Past it also says Gawker and Visible Mending. Debut Bobby Wine. And for British film, All of Us Strangers, but I love the Old Oak. I just got it in the mail on Blu-ray from Amazon UK. I never got the chance to see it, but I heard pretty good things about it, as you would, because it's a Ken Loach film. I just don't know whether it has some of the same impact as... what was it? Sorry, I can't remember the name. Brain fart. VFX, the creator. What other family from a 2023 film would you like to see in a Family Feud game with the Hosses in Zone of Interest? Ooh.
I mean, the first family I think of is the Cattons from Saltburn.
Oh my god, I want to see that now. Let's go.
Parsnip says the Bernsteins from Maestro.
NoGageEvent.com.
You'll find out eventually.
Oh. I just put together why he said that, and that's fucked up, dude.
For sound, Parsnip has Oppenheimer, but adding, however, Zone of Interest deserves it more.
I'll give it sound.
Josie mentions when Hulla was holding the baby in the garden, I was joking that she'd used the picture when it tells you the names of plants. I need to watch that again. Production design.
I know what you're coming up with, Josie.
Parsnip has production design for Barbie. Josie says, AJ, my mum agrees with you that the Barbie controversy is manufactured.
Yeah.
As are Barbies. I mean, literally, you know. The factories in China have got to be doing something if they aren't making iPhones. With it having the most nominations out of the 5 Oscar nominees and they would have been a Best Picture candidate, I wonder if Napoleon might get a visual effects Oscar. I mean, if BAFTA acknowledge it, and I'm trying to remember, hang on, where is the VFX? VES, where are you? I read your book! Where is it? There it is at the bottom. Napoleon's up against John Wick, Killers of the Flower Moon, Naiad, and Society of the Snow. So it's probably going to have that on its side in momentum for supporting visual effects. Ironically, not out-and-out visual effects. Indiana Jones is there for some reason, and Dungeons and Dragons, but there you go. Carl Trudel. I think that's a new name.
That's a new name. I don't recall that name. Welcome, Carl.
He says Anatomy of Fall wins Best Picture Actress Foreign Scenario and Editing. I'm trying to work out what scenario is. Screenplay, maybe?
I get screenplay.
Yeah.
Sure. That's a new one. I've heard that before.
Josie saying, as a girl, I admit that Jerskin Fendrix is attractive. Is it the handlebar mustache? If so, you're not getting one from me. You're just getting a mocha stain. I have no angle to do anything with. Parsnip puts score for Oppenheimer. I think Carl maybe agrees.
Sure.
Parsnip randomly mentions Being the Ricardos was a terrible film.
Terrible is a strong word, but it's not good.
I liked it, but I know I'm in the minority when it comes to that.
There's,
I'm still happy with that
I love
nomination. Thank you very much.
No, I love both of those guys, but those Bardem and Simmons nominations were such a waste of space.
You want to know more about that? We have a video you can watch really soon that Brian put together. Eventually, it will be on this channel for February 1st.
Killers of the Flower Moon score is excellent. Has a unique sound to it.
Yes.
Parsnip gives Poor Things to makeup, as does Carl. Josie says I could see Eva for makeup, and then says, who would SpongeBob, Patrick Squidward, and the rest of the band geeks get along with better with an orchestra? Lydia Tarr or Bernstein?
I just feel that Lydia Tarr would make Patrick cry. I don't know why. I just imagine this.
Sandy's getting groomed. It's going to be a horrible scenario.
Yep.
Bernstein's much more he's just the opposite of Lydia Tar.
We're neglecting the elephant in the room on this. What about J.K. Simmons in Whiplash?
Oh,
I
J.K.
just
Simmons
realized.
really make Patrick cry.
I just realized I said Bernstein was the opposite of Lydia Tar, but that scene where they're dancing to Shout may prove that wrong. Come to think of it, we didn't get much of a context to that. It did seem like a very similar scenario. Come to think of it, so retract what I just said.
I would say basically J.K. Simmons would basically revert to Mr. Krabs and go after SpongeBob, and I can imagine this in that scenario.
Apparently they've been acknowledging, the swift person in the crowd during the Super Bowl. Because
As they should.
Well, no, because it's the Nickelodeon stuff has actually got SpongeBob and Patrick doing the commentary on it. So because it's just the CBS feed, it's just a lot of that. So I don't know whether the two guys just struggling can we stop showing up? I don't know. I'm not watching. I'm not watching the right feed to establish that. Parsons says Walter Matthau was always the best at Einstein in IQ. I mean, I wouldn't know. Over here, we're getting him for adverts for smart meters. And it literally says at the bottom, Albert Einstein copyright of the Einstein estate. It's bad enough that we had De Niro doing Warburton's bread. Damn it. That being said, Kermit and bloody Samuel L. did because, people are desperate for money, apparently. Maestro sucks, but Naiad rules. Oppenheimer goes for editing for Parsnip. Carl goes with Anatomy of a Fool. Parsnip saying, I don't think Anatomy will get one thing at the Oscars. If the Brits love a foreign film, it's their own zone of interest.
God, I hope not. Probably right.
The thing is, a lot of Brits might not see that as their own.
No.
I don't see any of the other editing nominees at BAFTA winning other than Anatomy of a Fool, honestly, says Josie. Oh, costumes, Poor Things. Oh, and Parsnip said, I said earlier by mistake All of Us Strangers for British film. I meant Poor Things. But I still maintain that the personal choice will be Old Oak. Oppenheimer for cinematography, which Carl agrees with. With Josie mentioning that Poor Things did get the British Society of Cinematographers win. Parsons says you may disagree, but I think Oppenheimer feels very much like Bridge of Spies or Imitation Game. I think it's something the Brits recognise and enjoy. Not speaking for Ash, but I feel most Brits are into World War II or spy films. Oh. That's semi-hard to say because, dear Lord, the amount of people that I saw dressed in pink for Barbie of both genders while Oppenheimer was happening was kind of, you knew what people were going into just from the outfits they were wearing because apparently they just wanted to cosplay pink for some reason. And I do think rom-coms are more acknowledged than maybe they are in America. I feel, Bridget Jones has a lot of stuff here. The thing is, I don't know whether many people actually liked Dunkirk over here in comparison. I think they were used to sort of him doing sort of sci-fi and fantasy stuff, not historical. I mean, and the same thing, if Spy Things did well, then they actually would have cared about the snowman. But then again, that was a mess in itself. So, also do not doubt the power of musicals as well. Les Mis and Greatest Showman were number one for weeks and weeks and weeks over here. It's just you've got to get the right sort of musical. Anyway, I'll pull my Union Jack flag out the ground after that. uh, oh, so stupid. Zone of Interest is not nominated for cinematography or production design at the Oscars, says Josie. I'm surprised about the cinematography miss. Production design, it depends how you know, whether they want to acknowledge somebody building a house as production design. Almost all Russian films are about World War II. Well, again, that's you harkening back to the glory days, which, considering political situations right now, is probably what some people might want you to think. Foreign film, Zone of Interest, British films all the way, so past them. Carl goes with Anatomy of a Fall. Parsnip says, I'd love 20 Days of Mariupol to win. I'm guessing that's for foreign film, because Parsnip does also say documentary for it. The Brits love Ukraine, they just hosted Eurovision for them. I mean, yes, but also, it's a hell of a story being able to, having to report actively in a war zone. And to some extent, I think that's why, what was it? Not a secret war, hidden war? The one with Rosamund Pike?
Sounds right. Yeah, I think so.
It's that sort of aspect of like seeing it from within with the chaos around you. That's the sort of thing. It's the Paul Greengrass style. It's like making you feel you're in the center of the action. It's that sort of thing. It's less that the Brits love Ukraine. Considering some of the stories I've seen, there's some people that do not like Ukraine. What if we have something amazing to say about AJ and his computer dies before you get to us? Well, thankfully, we haven't got that just yet. I probably should go for this longer. Oh, and Bry also mentions that we won't cover it properly, but the Annies are actually the day before the BAFTAs as well. Will John and Yoko win there? Probably not, if going by previous history of the Annies. Parsnip says animated Spider-Man. See that? Owen's in it to win it for a Spider-Man pick.
It needs to have competition, and so far it hasn't. So Boy and the Heron needs to step it up right now.
Bry mentions that Spirited Away was nominated for film not in the English language. I never thought of that. I was only looking at the animated category because there's been like 4 or 5 Miyazaki films since 2005. You know, like Ponyo, Howl's Moving Castle was 2007, I think, wasn't it? Ish. Arrietty, I think, was Miyazaki.
Ponyo and Arrietty were at Regal when I was working there, so it was somewhere after 2001.
Wind Rises is like 2014 or something.
Yeah.
Parsnip has adapted for Poor Things, original for Anatomy of a Fall, Downey Jr. for supporting actor, Randolph for supporting actress, Murphy for actor, scroll back, Emma Stone for actress, and then Nolan winning the double with director and picture. AJ has a very nice sweater, so red. Maybe he's turning red. I don't know.
I think he's cosplaying Elliot from E.T. right now.
Why is there no best song category at the BAFTAs?
You say that, or
Oh, go ahead.
you either say Elliot or you say Mr. Rogers, but it's more Elliot because it has a hood.
Yes.
So.
We'll call you AJ Styles now.
Why is
Never say that again.
I'm not entirely sure why Parsnip, but I'm not entirely sure why Parsnip Burger there isn't a best song category. Maybe because they feel it's more of a sort of music people can decide on that, rather than being something that's, I know it's obviously key where it means something to score, but yeah, sometimes it does feel weird when I'm like getting all the list up of like what has the previous for best song, and like I even include the Grammys, and then it's like I always feel where's the BAFTA one, and then I have to remember, oh, BAFTA don't do it. Um, uh, Joe says I can see a world at BAFTA where All of Us Strangers takes British film. Carl says foreign language anatomy of a fool. I can see a world where Blunt upsets too, says Josie. Jodie Foster actually deserves Best Supporting Actress, nominated or not, over Randolph. I never saw anything revelatory about Divine's performance. No idea why she's got such a run.
Yeah, I feel the same way. She's good. She's really good, but I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Best thing about the holdovers is Paul Giamatti. Yeah. He's what holds it together.
Sess is really strong though, especially given the fact he's new.
I just like it. My favorite thing about the holdovers is just its vibe. Like how it's actually a rare Christmas movie that feels like Christmas.
Yeah.
Bryce says, speaking of Shia LaBeouf, after he did Padre Pio, he's now a Catholic and is considering to become a permanent deacon. That's what doing free Transformers films does to you. That's all I'm saying. Parsnip says Honey Boy never got a US release and is out of print in Australia. I need that Blu-ray. I did just pick up Beautiful Boy though from Amazon UK, which has a Blu-ray release. Yeah. Some of the stuff that comes out here that, you know, it's kind of random.
Is that the Chalamet Beautiful Boy or the Michael Sheen Beautiful Boy?
Could be either. Clarify. Bryce says all the acting races are open till SAG, so I wouldn't say Gosling's out of it, which is fair. A Poor Things MSG3K riff I came up with was when Margaret Qualley gets hit with a basketball and they could say, after all that training I didn't make the WNBA.
We will talk about her tomorrow. Do not worry.
What if Mulligan wins and she says, is this for real this time? If you remember last year. Oof.
Oh, yeah.
Carl says Sandra Huller. Parsnip asks you, AJ, what's the most recent Blu-ray or DVD pickup you have?
The Past Lives?
The holdovers.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Parsnip's recent ones was Teen Wolf 1 and 2, Valentine, Death Becomes Her, Psycho 4, Autopsy of Jane Doe, and True History of the Kelly Gang, all on Blu-ray. Josie wonders whether Mulligan might have a chance considering how well Maestro did do at BAFTA.
She's strong enough that it wouldn't be crazy.
I mean, you know, it says a lot, and probably how much he sort of realizes the story is the fact that she gets credited over Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
Because everything sort of revolves around her, even when she ain't there. When he's 80-something for 5 minutes. Parsnip says I predict 1 or 2 at the most BAFTA wins for Anatomy of a Fall. I don't see it as a juggernaut.
That's when things happen when you don't expect them to happen, Parsnip. You're probably right, but I'm just shooting for the stars.
Josie doesn't rule out Cooper either. I'm guessing that's for actor in terms of BAFTA.
Right.
Bryce says Murphy's Irish, although it is British skew. Well, the fact of nearly everything that he's been in that he got recognised in is British. You know, because I would say that 28 Days was his big debut. Hang on, let me double check. Yeah, I just want to look at his on-stage screen.
he credits it as his breakthrough.
Yeah,
So
because then if you look afterwards, he gets, Go Will the Cup, Go Will Pole Earring, and Cold Mountain. And then Batman Begins, Red Eye, and Breakfast and Bluto were the same year. It's possible Cooper or Murphy takes SAG while Giamatti takes BAFTA instead of Cillian Murphy. Josie says, I'm telling you now, don't rule out an Atmover for doing an All Quiet at BAFTA. That's an opportunity. Yeah, Michael Caine has a new novel I saw at the library I work at. Don't worry, I scrolled down where he's saying it's only 99p. So I don't know how that confident it is that they were willing to put it at 99p as a digital thing. Like, shove it out. That being said, a lot of things that a lot of Christmas books, as soon as it got to Christmas Day, when nobody could really buy them and get them on Christmas Day, all of a sudden went 99p for one day only on Amazon. Isn't that weird? Bryce says, my mum saw Past Lives last weekend and said it's fine, it's just a chick flick. I kind of see that. Then again, we live in a world that somebody decided, yeah, let's make a television adaptation of One Day. That David Nichols film.
Yeah, you got Chris Rock trying to remake another round.
It wasn't that good as a movie. Why are we trying to do it again? Huh? Josie's taking a shower. Parsnip said 7 viewers. Yeah, we gone. Holy crap. Parsnip corrected me. It was a private war, not a hidden war.
Okay.
Donnie Darko wore hoodies too.
Well.
And Parsnip confirmed the Chalamet version of Beautiful Boy is what was picked up. The Chalamet. Don't know why I said it like that. I'm not drunk yet. Parsnip says I'll probably be late tomorrow. I'm at work until 6:20 and won't be home until 7 Central. When do we start? Annoyingly, we start at 5 Central. But the archive will be there, Parsnip, and feel free to put stuff in the comments. We will see it. We do keep it. Oh wait, the new Alan Partridge book is 99p. Sorry, I need to work out where I'm buying that now. Especially because what was it? I think the new television series they're doing is like him coming back from either like Russia or Ukraine or something.
Oh my god.
What the hell is going to go on with that story?
It just sounds like Mr. Bean.
So, thank you, chat, for all of that. We'll be back tomorrow, our usual time, to discuss our personal picks. What we would have as our 8 categories in adapted and original. And yes, we will be putting it where it's appropriate. Because even I am going to back down and say, yeah, Barbie is adapted. Surely. If Transformers was adapted, I know it wasn't acknowledged, but whatever. It's based on things that go bang, bang, bang. Not in that one.
There'll be honorable mentions.
Yeah.
There will be 4 contenders, and there will be 1 winner for all 3 of us, for all 8 categories.
Well, apart from the 10, which will basically be the 10 of our personal choice. In terms of other stuff, along with the backlog that's coming over in the next day or two, there's a couple of Isaac videos coming. The one for the 13th of February is being recorded now because it's for the... I'll mention it here because you'll read it in the description anyway. There's a National Don't Cry Over Spilt Milk Day, which I guess is supposed to be a day where you're supposed to be optimistic. So considering all the technical difficulties he had on here, that failed. And then got a frog nodding. What the shit? And then of course there's an obvious one on February 14th. And then I think there's one which annoyingly is on the Sunday, so we'll have to stagger it over to after the awards coverage next week. I'm gonna have some more contraband stuff up on the channel. A couple of a game that I played years ago, but I'm gonna play through the series of it. There's 4 that I can play because I don't have the VR one, but we'll start going through them because I feel they're nice little fun things, which are, considering how old they are usually cheap when we get to sales, which probably means you missed them because I think they had a Lunar New Year sale at the minute on the stuff. There's also snack stashes, the wrap that you can't buy, which you haven't seen yet, so you definitely, I'm telling you about it for no reason. But we've also got I want to say February because I don't feel it's Valentine's, but 3 new stuff from McDonald's, including me losing my head again, but not in the way that I intended. I'll leave it at that. In terms of other stuff, you've got Owen's Sip and Snacks and Voice of Liberty stuff, AJ's movie reviews and verses, one of which that will be up once I've got everything scheduled and sorted. And then of course you can catch up on the Popcast movie clubs and catch up on all the fun of this season and past seasons of the award season in the playlist. In terms of socials, you can find myself on X Twitter at Ash is my name UK. Owen can be found at Sir Owen Disney, which is where you'll get all the updates as well as to when stuff is up. AJ cannot be found on social media, and just like Keith Richards, is hoping that Sophie Ellis-Bextor does a wonder job. Probably. So, with that, thank you to Parsnip, to Josie, to Carl, to Bry, and person at the top, Hunter. And of those of you that didn't manage to catch us and watch us on the archive, well, thank you for checking us out as well. So until next time, everybody, the lizard is massive.